It was a cool autumn evening on the island of Sodor. The sun was just beginning to set. The engines were finishing their work and returning to their sheds. And the thick fog began to roll in. James has just finished his last train to Town and was heading down the main line for home. He and his driver could hardly see a thing through the fog. As such, they didn't immediately notice the point were directed to an old, unused track. Oh bother, what silly things points are? I don't even recognize this line.
Calm down, James. We'll go back and set it right.
Well, good. Honestly, why does the factory charge to get rid of these disuse? Disuse? Is everything okay, James? What kind of sicko would scrap an engine like that?
No idea.
I don't want to find out. Get me out of here. At Timmer's sheds, the other engines were settling in for the night. All except Thomas, who was concerned for James. Edward, have you seen James today?
Not since this morning, but I'm sure he'll turn up soon, Thomas. Ah, speak of the devils.
Hello, James. We were just talking about you. How was your day?
James, are you okay?
But James said nothing as he backed down to his berth. He was unusually quiet and looked very pale.
If I didn't know any better, which is quite rare, I'd say poor little James has seen a ghost.
Well, I did see something.
What was it? Has Gator come back to scare you again?
I, saw a scrap engine.
That's it? I understand it is rather distressing to see those poor engines scrap, but you've seen them hundreds of times, James, and you never looked this disturbed over it.
This one is different. It was cut in half, clean through the middle without any fault at all, and the other half is gone. It wasn't like anything I ever seen before. Everyone went silent now, Gordon having regret teasing James. James, you might have seen a victim of the half engine. Are you kidding me, Thomas? I am not in the mood of your teasing tonight. I'm not teasing, James. I know why that engine is like that. Edward, who had known Thomas for far longer, recognized he was being serious.
Go on then, Thomas. Tell us.
A long time ago, before the Northwestern Railway was an established company, there was an engine who was brought in to help build the railway, along with myself and others. This engine was different. Something went horribly wrong with her construction. She had only half of a face, the other half being her smoke box door. We could barely understand what she was trying to say. Maintenance on her was a nightmare to watch and listen to. And through all of this, she was in immense excruciating pain. Her cries and wails for the pain to go away were so horrid that me and the other engines could hardly stomach it. But the nasty of us, and even some of the crew thought it was a great joke. This would all boil up inside of her, and one day, she changed for the worst. Her behavior became more violent. She would berate even the ones who felt pity for her, snarling and growling in anger. To make things worse, she would always venture out of the sheds and down the heavily forest line, coming back and talking of nothing but how we will all perish in her garbled, barely identifiable speech. Some of us, myself included, began to believe that she'd become possessed in all of her suffering, seeking any way to be rid of her deformity. Eventually, the Fat Controller at the time had enough and ordered another engine to take her away to be scrapped. At the same time, me and another engine were heading home from work. As we made our way down the line, we could see smoke coming from the same direction as the scrapyard and the sounds of the fire engine. We rushed to see what had happened, and it's a sight that I'll never forget. We never saw her again after that day, but we heard rumors from the workmen about noises in the forest on foggy nights. They all told us the same thing. It sounded like someone screaming in pain. And now, it seems her spirit is still around. Everyone at the sheds were deeply disturbed by Thomas's story. Everyone, that is, except Gordon.
Pah! You all truly believe in cheeky little Thomas's story? James, what you saw was likely not as strange as you think. The fog could have made you think it was cut so strangely.
Gordon, I'm serious. The half engine is all too real.
Of course she is, just like every other tall tale you've told.
And with that, Gordon went into his sheds to sleep. And one by one, all the other engines followed suit. But they found it very hard to sleep at night, in fear that the half engine was around. The next night, Gordon was making his way home with some empty coaches after his last train of the day. Once again, the fog rolled in, and it was thicker than the night before. But Gordon continued on. And although he didn't believe in the half engine, Thomas's story still ran through his mind.
Thomas has always been a cheeky little trickster.
Just then, they saw a red signal. Gordon slowly came to a stop. He was very confused. So was his crew. That's strange. No other engine should be passing by at this time. The mail train left before we did. There's probably been an accident up ahead. Maybe so. Get those warning lamps and flashlights. I'll go get the guard. Once the warning lamps were set up, Gordon's driver spoke to him. Needless to say, Gordon wasn't impressed.
You can't be serious. You expect me to sit here in the fog in the middle of the main line until you get back?
Don't worry, Gordon. We won't take long. We're just going to the nearest signal box to see what's going on. Besides, we left behind 2 warning lamps right next to you and the brake coach, so you won't have to worry about anyone crashing into you.
Fine, but make it quick. I just don't want to be left out in the cold any longer than I have to.
Alright, guys, let's go. As time passed, Gordon felt more and more uneasy. The fog, the tall leafless trees, and Thomas's story all clashed together in his mind.
Ah! Stupid bird, go away! Get a hold of yourself, Gordon. The fog and the stupid story are just getting into your smoke box. There's no such thing as a half engine. There's no such thing as a half engine. There's no such... who's there?
His driver, fireman, and the guards raced back to him upon hearing his cries. Gordon, are you okay? What happened?
Half engine? Thomas was right. She is real.
Oh my god! Now how does this happen? Gordon, can you tell us? What's that about a half engine?
It's nothing. Nothing at all.
Alright, if you say so. We'll leave the coaches behind and phone for help at the next signal box. Gordon soon returned to the sheds, still shaking over what he had seen. He said nothing as he backed down into his berth, but Thomas could tell that something was wrong. You saw her, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
I did warn you, Gordon. I guess you could consider yourself lucky tonight. No one ever comes back from an encounter with her. Gordon stayed up for a while that night. He felt sorry for teasing James. He felt sorry for not believing Thomas. And more importantly, he felt sorry for ever denying the existence of the half engine.